What happened? My eyeballs got blasted by the City of Fruta public bathroom self-cleaning feature because I ran in too soon. Welcome back to Privy. Privy is a podcast about bathrooms, recorded from my home bathroom. I'm your host, Hunter Hoover, and I love bathrooms. I gotta tell you guys, it's late. Normally, I don't record this late. If I've got the droopy, dreary bags under my eyes, it's because it's almost 10 o'clock p.m. at the point of record. More will become clear as I get into this episode about why I'm recording when normally I'm brushing my teethies and getting ready for bed. I also want to acknowledge that if all goes to plan, this episode is coming to you a bit earlier than you usually see an episode. Normally, you see an episode of Privy on the 5s, releasing on 5, 15, and 25 of every month. You're welcome. But this episode is admittedly rushed, which is why, A, I'm recording at the just butt crack of the evening here. I'm pissed off about it. I'm not happy. But also, it is coming out kind of not rushed. I'm going to take my time. You know I won't get straight to the point. But due to the nature of today's episode and my desire to cover a problematic piece of American bathroom culture, we are putting this episode out a little bit ahead of release schedule. Forgive me, we will be back to our regular release schedule towards the end of the month, but as you will hear, this episode being a bit early arriving to you is important. But before we dive in and I light fully into my rant for the evening, I'm sleepy. I'm an old man. It's tough because you want to be getting ready for bed. This is normally when I'm donning my pajamas or my kajamas, as my daughter calls them. But instead, I'm getting ready to dive into what everybody wants to, and this research is fresh. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. This from realization to moment of record is less than 24 hours. So we are moving quick here on Privy this week, and I'm doing what everybody wants to do at 9:45 p.m. on August 10th, which is talk to you about the history of voting and voter registration in these United States. Now, admittedly, it seems like once a year, I take a moment to talk about voting history, and voting conduct in the United States. And I'm going to come at it from a perspective about things that go on here in the U.S. I know there are plenty of international Privy users and Privy listeners. I see you in my stats section of my podcatching app, and I appreciate you being here. But I am sharing this piece of culture as an American from an American perspective. And I will also note, I suspect that many of these things are going to apply in a variety of ways in other countries and cultures. But for our purposes today, and because, well, we got to talk about America as something, we're going to be looking at the history and development of voting, voter registration, and voter timelines in the United States. In America, prior to 1845, the states were pretty much allowed to hold individual elections anytime they wanted, as long as those elections were held and the results were done 34 days before the first Wednesday in December. Now, technically, that means you could get your state's voting done like January 1st. Like, let's just lock it down. Voting ends January 1st, so you better get out to vote. That said, with this rat race happening for holding elections whenever you want, as long as it's not that weird Wednesday in December, they found that states began holding elections earlier and earlier so as not to have the outcomes of their state impacted by those states which might vote and report the results of their voting earlier than them. Again, they began to chase each other backwards towards the beginning of the year, away from December. All this ended in 1845 when Congress passed a federal law designating the first Tuesday following the first Monday of November the official election day of these United States. This selection was to allow farmers... the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November. What in the flippin' heck's going on here? The reason that they chose this day is seemingly arbitrary, I'm going to admit, to us today, because we have these things called cars. Heck, we've even got cars that are driving themselves out here. I'm terrified of the prospect, but we have them. But this date was chosen to allow farmers and other workers who were urban and would need to travel some distance with the ability to vote. Remember, there's no mail-in voting really in wide swaths at this time. You had to show up in person to cast your vote. As such, they wanted to make sure that those who had jobs that were out of town or were much farther away would have sufficient time to get to where they needed to go in order to vote. They allowed for Sunday to go to church. Check it. And then Monday as a travel day with the purpose of voting on Tuesday. This was deemed the most convenient, thus allowing the farmers to travel back home in time to finish out the work week before the following church Sunday. Yes. We're in that fun but strange slice of American history where things are still horse and buggy style. Do you know what I'm saying? And so, it took a lot longer to travel places, and you had to, go travel out in order to vote. Another key aspect in American voting life at this time was the development of voter registration. One of the first voter registrations that was enacted in the United States was in the state of Massachusetts in 1800. This voter registration required people to register to vote to ensure that they were tax-paying citizens. In short, you had to be a tax-paying citizen in order to vote. And if you were not allowed to vote. Later, registrations, it's noted, would be driven by anti-immigration, anti-black, and other sentiments throughout our history, seeking to ensure that limited peoples could vote. Now, I want to note, if you're an American citizen, you should vote. If you're not, you should not. American citizens should be the ones voting in American elections. It was a process, these voting registrations, was designed to make voting easier to access to voting citizens, cut down on voting fraud, and it was used in many cases to swing voter influence. We can see this swinging voter influence. Here in the American left, there is this sentiment that non-American citizens should be allowed to vote. Now, that is usually purported by a demographic of people that would directly benefit from the votes of those non-American citizens. It's weird how those things follow. Who knows? It's wild. But we're not here to talk politics. I merely bring all this up to say, usually in America, there are rules around voting, and those rules are usually directly connected to timelines and time frames that must be followed. There have been advances to try and spur on the ease of which a person can become a registered voter. The National Voter Registration Act of 1993 introduced motor voter registration, where people can register to vote in conjunction with receiving their driver's license, or they can just go do it at the DMV. This National Voter Registration Act also promoted the use and made possible the use of mail-in ballots. It also set registration deadlines at 30 days before the election. You cannot register to vote 45 seconds before trying to cast your vote. You have to be an established registered voter for 30 days prior to the day that you would seek to go out and try to vote. All I can say is, it's led to the idea that we would need other deadlines around when these absentee and mail-in ballots would need to be here. Not only must voting be done in the 34-day window prior to that Tuesday in December or whatever, but if people were going to mail in or vote absentee, they're going to have deadlines too. Absentee voting was designed to allow soldiers to vote from the front lines during the time of Civil War and continued into other times of war to allow for those who could not go out and physically present themselves at the voting booth to vote when they could not be there. Now, that all got carried away during COVID when it was unsafe to go vote. And some states, I will admit, some states have tried to revert back to in-person voting, encouraging people to go get out the vote. But others seem just totally content to, roll over dead and continue with the mail-in ballots. Here in Oregon, we chose the roll over dead option. The mail-in ballots seem, this is me. Personally, I voted a couple times in Montana as a Montana state resident, and then I have voted the rest of my life in the state of Oregon, where mail-in absentee ballot is the only way you can mail in. And I carried mine. I did not put postage on mine. This year, I carried my wife and I's in to the courthouse, and I stuck it in the "This is my mailing" box myself this last year in peaceful protest of the idiotic mail-in ballots. But the mail-in ballots, I'm just going to say it. You didn't come here for politics, but this is boots on the ground. It feels so inefficient, and it feels so just janky. I barely even trust our U.S. Postal Service to deliver me my Amazon packages, A, on time, B, the box not destroyed, and C, to the right person. For goodness sakes, figure it the heck out. So I'm trusting them to courier my vote. And what if I've got a sign in my yard that pisses them off? They're not going to just throw it away. Yeah, no one would ever know. All of these deadlines, though, and new cutoff dates were designed to allow for administrative and logistic needs, such as counting, staffing, and ensuring that all the votes that have been entered are tallied and recorded before the announcement and the closing of the election. They were designed to ensure things were fair and accurate in our American voting process. They were designed to safeguard against fraud and abuse and allow for mail-in and absentee ballots to be included in that count, which, again, I think there's some fraud and abuse going on with the mail-in ballots, but that's just me. In short, deadlines and cutoffs for voting are good. If you don't have your vote in or postmarked by the right time, it isn't included. This gave everyone a fixed and known date, so everyone was on the same page and knew what to expect when it came time to vote and what it was in those voting timelines. In America, voters typically have a voting window between 10 and 20 days for absentee ballots. The longest mail-in absentee ballot is in Minnesota, South Dakota, and Vermont, which allow a month and a half, 46 days voting prior to Election Day for a voting window. Kentucky contains the shortest and most rigorous, with only a few days of early in-person voting allowed. So you can vote early, but you have to go in person to do so. One other aspect to all of these voting guidelines to be considered are filing deadlines. Turns out, I can't just show up and expect my name to be on the ballot. In local elections, you have to file that you are running and be put on the ballot anywhere between a week to a month before the election begins. And in federal elections for president, they have to be on there 80 to 90 days prior to Election Day. I'll tell you what, 80 to 90 days, old Kamala Harris cut it close with her 100-day run. She barely missed being forced through that window as candidate. It's a wonder that she ran for president having received no votes to do so. But What do I know? These systems, all of these voting systems and guidelines and timelines and are clearly communicated. They're supposed to be clearly understood and are designed for fair and well-informed elections. And that's what you want. You want fair and well-informed elections. If you're going to have people vote, you want them to know what they're voting on, and you want them to have enough time to vote to make their voice known. You could do it that way. And in America, I feel like we've done a lot of work to try to make voting accessible and informed. We get those voter pamphlets, and we've made a national holiday for voting so that way people will remember. So you could do it that way. You could put in the effort to make it accessible and something that people can do and access easily. Or you could do what the Cintas Corporation does every flippin' year. I want to be clear. I am blaming the Cintas Corporation flat out for this episode's release date, my late night record, and my own personal frustration and distress. It's rather disconcerting, and I'm starting to think they don't give a flying frig about me, but here we are. I also want to note that the Cintas Corporation had what I'd like to call a lie on their website for at least a week. Every year, beginning in July, I visit the Cintas Corporation's America's Best Restroom website. You'll find it linked down below. More on that in a moment. And I visit this website multiple times a week. And I do that because I know, as a bathroom enthusiast, as the host of this podcast, I know that July is America's Best Restroom Finalist Announcement Month. It's going to happen in there. That's what they say every year. And every year, I'm met with the same stupid, godforsaken, ugly sack of crap placeholder website thing every flippin' year. It's always on there. It's so ugly. I hate it so much. It says nominations are closed. You can nominate a bathroom for next year's America's Best Restroom, and we will announce the finalists by the end of July. So with that in mind, I begin checking July 1st, 2nd, 3rd. I hop on there a few times. Okay, end of July. I hop on there for kicks and giggles about once or twice a week for the first 2 weeks. And then as we get close to those like July 20s, oh yeah, I'm hopping on there at almost every day to see if the finalists have been posted. And every single time I met with this godforsaken placeholder message that tells me that they'll be posted in July. Okay, well, here's the deal. July, in our Julian calendar, has 31 days. And 0 of those 31 days did the Cintas Corporation release the finalists for America's Best Restroom. 0. It was not July anything. None of them. They didn't do it by July. They did not do it by the end of July. And by gum, I would argue they didn't even do it by the beginning of August. In fact, I got so disheveled about this that I got on the internet. There's a dangerous thing. And I twatted right at them. I twatted all over it at the Cintas Corporation days into August. Like we're pushing, like I'm staring down August 7th. I'm looking at it going, there ain't no way. And I tweeted them saying like, hey, like we going to release these finalists yet? It ain't looking like the end of July to me. Go check it out at Privycast on Twitter. You can see that it's out there. Now, I did not check on this. I checked on the 6th. It was not there. Sometime between the 7th and 8th, the finalists were posted. A full week into August, I might add. And I don't really engage in line much on the weekends just because I'm usually working on other stuff and spending time with family and doing that. But I decided late at night on August 9th, last night at the point of this record, almost 2 days ago, by the time you hear this episode, if my editing is done in a timely manner, they had arrived. The finalists were out. Now, usually if the Cintas Corporation keeps their promise, which they haven't for 2 years in a row, they will release the finalists on August 1st or July 31st would be preferable. And they usually give us a 2-week voting window between August 1st and August 15th to vote for America's Best Restroom. You might hear that. And you might think, well, they posted the finalists a full week into the following month that they said they were going to put them out. So surely, to make up for that, they're going to extend the voting window to allow people the time to be informed and to access their voting, let alone cover the bathrooms on a very important annual bathroom podcast coverage episode. You're making me rush, Cintas. I don't like to be rushed. I like to have my ducks lined up. I've got a special form of duck autism where they got to be in a row. So the fact that you've drugged me from my summer slumber, I had to crack a spindrift at 10 o'clock at night just to wet my throat, to get angry enough at you to say you should have done better. Now, I'm not going to say that I'm writing him off, but like next year is the chance, Cintas. I would love to see these finalists on July 1st. Like, see them, and voting opens on August 1st. That's the goal. Cintas Corp, if you're hearing this, that's the goal. That's the standard. That way, it's clearly communicated, the timeline is understood, and we can all know what to expect, and it gives a full 2-week open voting window to be informed about these things. They are going to close voting on the 15th. They're giving me, by the point of this episode's release, 4 to 5 days for you to hear it and go vote. And they're giving people a total of 1 week to vote on America's Best Restroom. Remember, you can vote but once a day. So I will, by the time voting closes, will have cast 7 votes in America's Best Restroom, voting once every day. And so, without further ado, and with these things in mind, and with my frustration building, it's time at long last, not in July, and not 1 week into August, but 10 full days into the month of August, for me now to do our yearly coverage of the 2025 America's Best Restroom finalists. Because if we had any more ado about it, like if we put it off any longer, it'd be stinking September, Cintas. So like, we can't waste any time here. This year, there are 9 finalists for the America's Best Restroom competition, and I'm going to be going over them in the order that the Cintas Corp has posted them on the America's Best Restroom website. I'll be giving a little bit of my own commentary, but I will be giving you the bulk of the description that they're given with my little color commentary sprinkled in. And then towards the end, I am going to tell you what my pick is. And also, I'm going to make a prediction. We'll see how it turns out. That episode usually lands in October. The first of our finalists is Barehead Lake State Park in Minnesota. This bathroom is nestled in one of Minnesota's most loved parks. The restroom and shower building at Barehead Lake State Park provides more than just function. It's a thoughtful design and a stunning setting. Now, and I will note, it's a very nice bathroom for being located out in the middle of nowhere. It says that it has fully accessible ADA guidelines. All bathrooms have to, so like, I guess weird flex. This facility ensures comfort. Exterior dishwashing sinks, which is cool. If you're camping, you can wash sinks in those and clean up without trekking back to a waterless site. Surrounded by the serene beauty that earned Barehead Lake the title of America's favorite state park in 2010. That's 15 years ago. This restroom is proof that practicality and natural beauty can go hand in hand. So first up, Barehead Lake State Park in Minnesota. Also, of course, all of these will be posted in the Privy socials and are visible probably on our website, but if not, on the America's Best Restroom link in the ding dong below. Number 2 is the city of Fruita in Fruita, Colorado. This is one of those self-cleaning, like public outdoor bathrooms. It's a standout example of modern public infrastructure. Those words don't mean a lot. That combine technology, sustainability, and practicality. It's a public self-cleaning crap toilet. Like, okay. It's designed with automated cleaning system, which just sprays down. It sanitizes the toilet and floor after each use. Bet. What happens if you get in there and it sprays you? What happened? My eyeballs got blasted by the City of Fruta public bathroom self-cleaning feature because I ran in too soon. It's built durable, vandal-resistant materials like fiber-reinforced concrete, galvanized steel, and coated with anti-graffiti protection. It's well-suited for high-traffic areas, ADA, LED lighting. Now, here's what I'm going to say. All this language reminds me of the Portland Loos. And I assure you, I went and visited Portland Loo. None of those things stood up. So I hope that's true for the City of Fruta bathrooms here. But that's number 2, the City of Fruta. Number 3 is Footprints in Lawrence, Kansas. It says, what was once a cramped, outdated restroom is transformed into a whimsical, locally inspired barn-themed restroom that reflects, notice this is the first bathroom with a theme. I like what I hear here. With rich agricultural heritage, designed and built by local artists, I like local artists, and craftsmen. The space features custom ceramic tile work, including farm animals, corn cobs, and a wren flour sack that nods to the town's milling history. With a playful mix of art and history, this memorable restroom turns a necessity into an experience rooted in place, purpose, and pride. I'm going to note, this is the first, as I'm clicking through the bathrooms, this is the first one that I'm like, that's dope. That stone-laid artwork is super cool, and the TP roll is just so well placed on that pig butt. Very well done. I like this bathroom. Number 4 is the Little America Hotel in Salt Lake City, Utah. The restrooms at Little America are designed to have a lasting impression, including the lobby. Okay, now listen. Everybody just chill out. Every bathroom. Who designs a bathroom and say, you know what, I want everybody to forget that experience? I mean, maybe a lot of people, but here we are. Floor-to-ceiling doors, crystal chandeliers. It combines elegance with unmatched privacy. It's very pink, and it reminds me of old fancy people. I'm going to be honest. I'm just going to tell you flat out. Number 5 is the Modern Bar in Orlando, Florida. In the Modern Bar in Orlando, Florida, the restrooms are just as iconic as the cocktails they serve, featuring striking black and white tiling. It is very good tiling, I will admit. I saw these pictures and I was like, dang, Gina, that's some good tiling. Would you get a load of that tiling, though? Gleaming gold accents, they were gleaming. I did note that. And elegant marble countertops, restrooms have become the go-to photo spot for guests. Is Toilet Tuesday, is the potty shot catching on? They were nominated for Best Bar Restroom in Orlando's weekly annual Best of Awards. This one, the vibe here in this one reminds me of the Great Gatsby movie with Leonardo Donatello. I do admit, I like the fixtures though. They look good. Number 6 is the Rooftop at Pier 7 in New York, New York. Rooftop at Pier 7 features expansive, luxurious restrooms with a stunning panoramic view of the Manhattan skyline. It's designed with elegance. The space includes 75 stalls. That's a lot of places to drop skeet, brother. Well-maintained. Interesting. Family-friendly facilities. Smooth concrete walls, soft lighting, and stylish ADA compliant. Again, bathrooms have to be ADA compliant. If they're public bathrooms, they have to be. They create clean, modern atmosphere, and the restrooms offer a thoughtful extension of the roof's upscale experience. The view is super cool, I will admit. The view on this bathroom is pretty rad. Number 7 is the Rosebrook Lodge in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire. This is in the Omni Mount Washington Resort and Spa. The award-winning Rosebrook Lodge features restrooms that reflect elegance and craftsmanship. The entrance welcome guests with warm wood tones, geometric wall tiles, touchless features. My gas station's got touchless features, but what's the vibe? What's the vibe? They say it balances luxury and functionality. So does my in-home bidet, baby. Rock on. Very minimalistic, this bathroom. Okay. Number 8 is the Tatsu or the Tatsu in Dallas, Texas. Now, they say every detail matters, including the restroom. From the crystal clear mirrors to the polished fixtures, the spotless, elegant space echoes a meticulous care shown throughout the meal. A fresh, clean scent creates an inviting and comforting atmosphere. The restroom features a sophisticated Toto toilet and walls adorned with the vivid koi fish. Thoughtfully designed restroom reflects Tatsu's broader commitment to hygiene, especially in the kitchen where culinary creativity. So, this bathroom, first of all, very good koi fish on the wall. I love it. It is a very unique looking bathroom. But I love that this restaurant understands something. When I go to Taco Smell and I order my beefy 5-layer burrito, no sour cream, no beans, you know what's messing you up. And while they're preparing the meal, I decide, you know what? I'm gonna hit the bathroom real quick. And I go in and it's like, oh dear Lord, this bathroom hasn't been cleaned this week. Is that blood? It makes me question the cleanliness and the things that are gonna come out of the kitchen. Now, while the food is not prepared in the bathroom, Tatsu in Dallas is onto something. If our bathroom isn't super good, we know that's going to be a reflection on how people perceive our food. They are right. It's a very cool bathroom. Last but not least, number 9 is the Tecolote Shores in San Diego, California. This is a new restroom designed for functionality and coastal charm. It has 8 all-gender restrooms, including 2 ADA accessible family restrooms. Inside, slip-resistant epoxy flooring handles wet, sandy feet. Oh, this is like a beachside. That's kind of cool. Modern butterfly roof and Pacific blue accents complement the block. It's a beach vibe. It looks like a little mini beach house on the side of the thing. It's fine. These are our finalists. And I want to note, normally when we share the America's Best Restroom finalists for the year, we try not to steer anything. But we've only got 4 to 5 days to vote, and I'm a little irritated. So I'm going to tell you, here on Privy, my votes are for footprints. That farm tile on the bathroom walls is just so cool. This is the only one with a theme. This is the only one with a vibe. The art in the bathroom is actually art. It's not like, it's somebody locally came in and did the art. Please, if you have to vote, please vote. Go to America's Best Restroom. Go to Google, type in America's Best Restroom 2025. Vote for footprints. This one is so cool. I want this little bathroom in Kansas or Kentucky or wherever this is to win. It's so cool. My second favorite's Tatsu, but I would commit at this point to footprints every day. Footprints. I also want to note that there's not an airport in submission this year. Maybe Cintas heard us complain that they just pick an airport every year. Like every year for like the last 2 or 3 years, I want to say, an airport has won. And so with no airport on the docket, my prediction this year is that rooftop in New York is going to win. That view is very good. And they've got a large bathroom space, which tells me that they've got a lot of people coming and going, which means there's a lot of people that they can tell go to vote. But how great would it be if we could get footprints to beat them? That's the goal here. You have until this Thursday, August 15th, to vote. And then we're going to see how many weeks, if not months, it takes for them to post them. My prediction is we don't have a winner announced until the month of October. Cintas, I would love for you to prove me wrong. I will also note this year on the voting, they have the little reCAPTCHA thing to make sure that you're not a bot or to ensure there's 1 vote per person per day. So that's good. A little bit of security, a little more time would have been nice, Cintas. Thanks. It's almost 10:30. I'm old. Please. But this brings us to the end of another episode of Privy. Thank you for being here. Go vote. Make sure you vote in America's Best Restroom. The time is running out. Link in the ding dong below. Leave us a rating and review. The 5-star options are preferred. In every rating and review you leave, we will donate $1 to Wounded Warriors and Living Water International as a reminder to keep pooping in the free world. That free world was not always free. And to pursue cleaner water for all. Not everyone has it, but everybody should. Go check us out on our website, privy-cast.com. Find us on social at Privycast. We have a YouTube page where you can actually watch a video version of this podcast. Hi, welcome. If you're watching via video and you made it this far, welcome. Diarrhea. You got a free diarrhea towards the end there. Go check us out. Share the show with a friend, whether it's share the YouTube, share the podcast channel, share it out. Just click share, post it on social media, say, hey, this knucklehead's making stuff about bathrooms. We would love to spread this show far and wide. It just gets the word out there. It gets the word out about voting. It also helps generate more ratings and reviews so we can give more back to Wounded Warriors and Living Water. We want to thank Kevin and Podington for the use of their music. Thanks, Kevin and Podington. You can find links in the description below about their music. This has been another episode of Privy. Keep pooping in the free world. Own your stank. Make sure you vote and vote quickly this year. And now, as always, don't forget to flush.